This week's Parsha presents Behar Bechukotai. This is Yehoshua Wechsler, recording here from the Engel Learning Center in Jerusalem. And in the Torah reading this week, we learn of the tochocha, the curses that come to the Jewish people for not keeping the Torah properly. Rashi, in the beginning of this week's Torah, tells us why the klola comes, and why the brachos come, why good things come our way. And he tells us, Shetiyu amelim b'Torah. You should be sweating away, learning the Torah properly. The problem with this Rashi is that we have all sorts of Gemaras and other Jewish Makoros telling us that the reason why the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, our holy temple was destroyed, was because we did different sins, not because we didn't learn Torah. It was because we served idols, we were immoral, we killed people, and the averos of that genre. Why is it that we're being taught over here that the klola comes, the curses come specifically for not working in our specific Torah learning? The Yavitz gives a mashal. He gives a parable of a king who had a musician whom he enjoyed listening to the music that he played regularly. One day this king stole. And in those days, the rule was that if a person stole, his hands got chopped off. The king found out about the court case that his musician was going through, and he intervened and said, I understand that this person may have stolen and may deserve his hands being chopped off, but I enjoy his music, and therefore I am going to stop the punishments coming his way. The musician carried on playing for years to come, making the king happy, until one day he became too old and his hands weren't the same way they used to be, and his music wasn't as pleasing to the king's ears as it used to be. Once that day came, the king went back to the court and said, he doesn't play for me anymore, and therefore you can give him the justice that he deserves to have. You can give him the punishment of having his hands chopped off now. Explains the Yavitz, the same is with the Torah. The Torah that we learn is music to God's ears. And it's true we often do sins, but so long as this music is being played, God says, you're right, they should be destroyed. You're right, punishment should come their way. But I enjoy the music, and therefore hold off for now. It's when that beautiful music of Torah learning stops that unfortunately all the punishments that we really deserve potentially could come our way. And that's why Rashi tells us that the trigger that allows the punishments to actually come into fruition are the fact that we are not Omer b'Torah, that we don't learn Torah properly. Let's try and learn as much Torah as we can, play God's music in the most beautiful way possible, and merit all the blessings the Torah has to offer. Have a great Shabbos.